Welcome to 8 Minutes Chinese. Today, we're unlocking the essential phrases you can use in daily life and master in your next business negotiation.
So I want you to picture this. You are sitting in, let's say, conference room B.
Oh boy, I know conference room B.
Right. And the fluorescent lights above you have that slight, just maddening hum.
Yeah.
And it is hour 3 of a high-stakes meeting. Your entire cross-functional team is just locked in this bitter debate over whether or not to launch a new product feature.
Oh, the absolute agony of analysis paralysis. I mean,
Yeah.
the air in that room is usually just thick with the fear of making the wrong move.
It really is. It's brutal. I mean, marketing is throwing up roadblocks saying, they need another month of consumer surveys.
Right. Always another month.
Always. And engineering is demanding just one more sprint to refactor the code so it's absolutely flawless. And then legal is sweating over these bizarre edge case risks that have like a 1 in a million chance of actually happening.
Oh, yeah. You are completely, hopelessly stuck in the mud, just burning time and money.
Exactly. And then someone from the back of the room leans forward, clears their throat, and drops this ancient 4-character phrase.
And the temperature in the room just drops. Like the entire dynamic flips on its head.
The deadlock instantly shatters. People actually sit up straighter. The endless debating about hypotheticals just stops.
Yeah.
And suddenly everyone is galvanized, moving in the exact same direction. So what we are looking at today in this deep dive is a linguistic and cultural concept that acts as like a psychological skeleton key.
I love that. A skeleton key.
Yeah, it really is, because it unlocks paralyzed teams.
And we have a really dynamic stack of sources to unpack this today. We are pulling from some fresh English translations of ancient Chinese military treatises, a couple of recent business school case studies on agile tech startups.
Which are fascinating, by the way.
Really fascinating. And we also have some deep dive linguistic analyses of modern corporate jargon.
So our mission today is to dissect this idea of divine speed. We are going to map out exactly how an ancient battlefield tactic became the driving force, like the literal backbone of today's cutthroat startup environment. And beyond just the history, we really want to equip you with the strategic mindset to identify when your own team is, hiding behind prudence.
Oh, that happens all the time.
So often. And we want to show you how to deploy this concept to conquer hesitation in your own workplace.
So the phrase that has the power to end a 3-hour meeting is pronounced bingi shensu.
Okay, bingi shensu.
Yeah, let me break down the phonetics for you again, just a bit slower. It's bingi shensu.
Bingi shensu. Okay, so looking at the linguistic breakdown in our sources, the anatomy of this idiom is it's fascinating.
It really is.
You start with bing, right, which represents the military, soldiers, or warfare. Then you have gi, meaning precious or like highly valuable.
Exactly.
And then the kicker is the final 2 words, shen su, which translates roughly to divine speed or lightning speed.
Right. So the literal instruction is that in military affairs, speed is the most precious asset of all.
It is a mandate to move with this terrifying, almost otherworldly swiftness.
Yeah, but to really understand the modern application, we have to look at the psychological mechanics of why ancient generals valued this above, say, having superior numbers or better weapons.
Right, because it's not just about getting there first.
So moving fast isn't just some logistical trick to arrive at the battlefield early and set up a comfortable camp.
It is about dictating the reality of the situation before the opponent even knows what the situation is.
Exactly.
Like if you move at divine speed, you claim the only freshwater source in the valley 3 days before your enemy even realizes they are thirsty.
Which is such a massive advantage. You force them to react to your geography.
You are denying the opposition the one resource they desperately need to form any kind of counter strategy.
And that resource is time. Time to process, time to organize, time to react. You just take it all away.
This totally reminds me of playing a blitz game of chess against someone who is just vastly outpacing you.
Oh, that is the worst feeling.
It really is, because when a player is moving their pieces that aggressively and instantaneously, it causes a complete cognitive overload.
Right.
You are trying to defend against where their knight was, like 3 moves ago, and meanwhile, they're already structuring a checkmate on the opposite side of the board.
You literally cannot execute your own strategy because 100% of your mental energy is being drained just trying to survive their tempo.
Exactly. And cognitive overload is the exact mechanism these ancient military texts were weaponizing.
Yeah, and the texts actually pair Bingyi Shansu with another vital strategic concept. It's pronounced qi, spelled Qii.
Speed.
The qi translates roughly to surprise, or the unexpected, or deeply unconventional tactics.
So it's a multiplier. Speed alone is just moving fast, but speed combined with the unexpected creates an environment where the competitor's playbook just goes completely out the window.
Precisely. When you combine the deeply unexpected with overwhelming swiftness, you don't just beat the enemy in a fair fight. You structurally deny them any viable options to fight back. I mean, war is inherently ruthless. You are actively trying to short-circuit the opponent's decision-making loop.
Well, and we aren't fighting on a horseback with swords anymore, obviously.
Thank goodness.
Right. But that specific brand of strategic ruthlessness, the desire to utterly deny a competitor the oxygen of time, that is the exact same oxygen driving the modern corporate boardroom.
Oh, without a doubt.
Huh.
Which brings us right back to that fluorescent-lit conference room, the modern corporate battlefield.
Yeah.
The concepts we are discussing form the absolute bedrock of modern Chinese business culture, and really, by extension, the global tech industry's obsession with the first-mover advantage.
Taking this out of the ancient context and looking at the Harvard Business Review case studies in our stack, you see Bingyi Shansu deployed as a weapon against enterprise friction. Like legacy companies, these massive, slow-moving giants, they operate on the old waterfall method of development.
Yeah, where they spend 3, 4, maybe even 5 years locked in a closed development cycle.
It's crazy. They try to predict a market half a decade in advance. They build these massive risk assessment committees aiming to launch the theoretically perfect product.
But by the time that perfect product finally sees the light of day, consumer behavior has completely shifted.
Exactly. Or worse, a scrappy startup has already solved the problem, captured the user base, and established brand loyalty.
And the modern antidote to that sluggishness is the agile approach. You launch quickly. You get a minimum viable product out the door, even if it is only 80% of what you dreamed it could be.
Right, because you iterate based on actual real-world user feedback.
Exactly. In this ecosystem, speed is not just a metric. It is your primary competitive moat. It is how you capture the market share before the massive legacy companies even convene their first exploratory committee.
So to actually utilize this in a corporate setting, our linguistic sources highlight a triad of vocabulary words that function as the gears of this strategy.
Yeah, these are constantly paired together in the literature.
The first is jihui, which means opportunity.
Jihui. And that is that fleeting, incredibly narrow window where a market need exists, but no one has adequately filled it yet.
And the texts insist that recognizing a jihui is totally useless unless it is immediately followed by ixing-dong.
Which means action.
Action, right? But here is the critical friction point I found in the sources.
What's that?
There is this massive empty chasm between spotting an opportunity and actually taking action. And that gap is where most companies just die.
Oh, absolutely. And bridging that gap requires the third crucial concept, which is jusei, meaning decision-making. Someone has to have the professional courage to make a definitive call.
So putting this into a real-world simulation.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Imagine a fintech startup trying to launch a new mobile payment feature.
Got it.
The legacy bank they're competing against is taking 2 years to build a similar feature. The startup has the code, say, 80% ready, but the room is totally divided.
Right, because the perfectionists want to delay the launch by 3 months to polish the user interface.
Exactly. But that 3-month delay is exactly the breathing room the legacy bank needs to catch up.
Yes. So when the project manager in the back of the room invokes Bingyi Shansu, they are utilizing a very specific professional shorthand. It instantly reframes the entire risk profile of the room.
It tells the team, hey, the cost of launching a feature that is slightly unpolished is a few bug fix updates.
Right.
But the cost of being second to market is total corporate irrelevance.
Exactly. It says, we have enough information. We are executing a decision and taking immediate ixing-dong action.
It grants the room permission to just stop overthinking. Instead of speed being viewed as this reckless liability, speed is culturally repositioned as the ultimate defensive shield.
Right. But I think we need to pause here for a second.
Okay, I actually have to throw a massive red flag on the play right here, too.
Oh, really? Go ahead.
Because I am looking at the tech landscape over the last decade, and the philosophy of prioritizing speed above absolutely everything else has resulted in some spectacular catastrophes.
Oh, definitely. The whole move fast and break things era has left some really deep scars.
Right. Startups have imploded, burning billions of dollars in venture capital because they scaled before they actually had a working product.
Yeah.
Companies rushed hardware to market and suffered massive brand-destroying security breaches. I mean, if you are operating at divine speed without a map, aren't you just accelerating toward a cliff?
That is such a crucial point. Pure speed without direction is absolutely a recipe for catastrophic failure.
Right.
But the brilliant thing about the source material is that the ancient strategists knew this just as intimately as a modern CEO does.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The core genius of Bingyi Shensu is actually the tension it holds with a companion principle.
Because you cannot just charge your cavalry blindly into a foggy valley simply because you want to be the first one there.
Exactly. You'd be wiped out.
Yeah.
So the companion principle in the military text is pronounced ZGZB.
ZGZB.
Yes. It translates to know yourself and know your enemy. Or, adapted for our business context, know yourself and deeply know your market.
So we are actually looking at a two-step formula, not just a blind charge.
Right.
Step one is meticulous, almost agonizingly detailed preparation. You gather the intelligence, you ruthlessly audit your own team's capabilities, and you map out the market conditions.
Yes. And then step two is where the divine speed comes in.
Oh, okay.
Divine speed is reserved entirely for the execution phase. The strategy is to completely eliminate the endless hand-wringing deliberation that happens after you already have the data you need.
So it's about knowing where the threshold of enough information actually is. Once you hit that threshold, further hesitation actually becomes toxic to the mission.
Yes. And our linguistic sources point out a very specific, highly dangerous corporate trap related to this. The word is yanwu,
Yanwu.
which translates to delaying or missing an opportunity strictly due to hesitation.
Wow. What makes this concept so terrifying in a daily office environment is how incredibly well it disguises itself.
Oh, it hides perfectly.
Because nobody sits in a boardroom and says, hey, let's be lazy and intentionally miss our launch window.
No, never. It never looks like negligence. It looks like professionalism.
Yes. It masquerades as prudence. It looks like doing our due diligence or waiting for the macroeconomic conditions to improve or scheduling a fifth cross-departmental alignment meeting.
Right.
But it is actually a defensive mechanism. You are letting the window of opportunity slam shut while you sit there checking the locks on your own door for the 20th time.
Just so nobody can blame you if things go wrong.
Exactly.
That is a razor-sharp distillation of the problem. Hesitation masquerading as prudence is the silent killer of innovation.
It really is.
The defining characteristic of a great leader is the ability to distinguish genuine, necessary preparation from fear-driven yanwu. You have to know when the research phase is over and the execution phase must begin.
Okay, so just as I am wrapping my head around this, feeling like I have a total grasp on this universal law that meticulous preparation paired with blinding speed is the ultimate key to success, the source texts throw this unbelievable curveball.
I wondered when you were going to bring up the strategic opposite.
I mean, how can there be an opposite to something so fundamentally critical to survival? I was reading through the later chapters of the strategic text we pulled, and there is a concept that seems to tear this entire philosophy down to the studs.
Yep. The texts introduce the concept of Hao Feji Ren. Let me translate that for our listeners. It means the one who acts last controls the outcome.
Okay, wait. We just spent 15 minutes establishing that if you aren't moving at divine speed and capturing the first mover advantage, you are essentially dead in the water.
I know.
We talked about cognitive overload, dictating the geography, agile development. Now the text says the one who acts last controls the outcome. That is a total contradiction.
It sounds like cognitive dissonance, definitely. Especially if you are searching for rigid, immutable laws of the universe.
Yeah.
But Eastern philosophical and strategic texts are rarely absolute. They are relentlessly contextual.
Context is everything, sure. But how does a leader actually know which lever to pull? Like, when do I deploy divine speed and when do I strategically anchor myself and act last?
Well, you have to analyze the stakes, the visibility of the terrain, and the specific nature of the market.
Okay.
Let's look at the agile sprint scenario again. You are in a highly competitive, consumer-facing tech market. The barrier to entry is low, and consumer attention is incredibly fleeting.
Right. And the cost of a minor failure like launching a feature with a few bugs is easily fixable.
Exactly. In that environment, the cost of missing the jihui, the opportunity, is catastrophic. If you wait, a competitor swallows your user base.
So there, you absolutely mandate 并具神速, you move fast, you iterate on the fly.
But shift the context entirely. What if you're navigating a massive, highly delicate corporate merger? What if you are locked in a tense, high-stakes negotiation with a monolithic enterprise software supplier, where the first person to anchor a price point loses all their leverage?
That completely changes the physics of the situation.
Yes, it does.
In a massive M&A deal, launching an aggressive offer immediately without seeing the other side's financial hand is just totally reckless.
Exactly. You don't want divine speed in negotiation like that. You want a terrifying amount of strategic patience.
Right. In a high-stakes, asymmetric information environment, you use 好发制人. You let the other side show their cards first.
You let them make the opening move. And that allows them to potentially overextend themselves or reveal their desperation.
So acting last isn't about being slow or falling victim to Yanwu.
No, not at all.
It is about letting the competitor burn their resources, finding the landmines for you. You gather vital data on their position simply by watching them move.
Precisely. And here is the genius synthesis of the two concepts. Even when you strategically choose to act last, once you finally decide to make your countermove, you still execute that final strike with divine speed.
The execution phase never loses its speed.
Never.
You wait with endless patience, observing the board, letting the competitor expose their flank. But the exact second the track springs, it springs at lightning speed.
You give them absolutely no time to recover from the mistake you just watched them make.
So you never abandon speed. You are simply shifting the timeline of when you pull the trigger.
Exactly.
Pulling all of these threads together, the deep dive into these sources paints such a vivid picture of modern strategy. 并具神速 is not a get-out-of-jail-free card for recklessness.
No.
It is certainly not an excuse to skip your market research, ignore your data, or launch broken products.
It is the intellectual machete that cuts through the thickets of analysis paralysis. It teaches us that timing is not just a component of the plan. Timing is just as crucial as the plan itself. A brilliantly architected plan executed 3 months too late is infinitely worse than a very good plan executed this afternoon.
You absolutely must pair your preparation with execution. Know your market inside and out. Do the grueling due diligence, but you have to recognize the exact moment that threshold of necessary information is crossed. The second you have what you need to survive, you have to stop scheduling the alignment meetings. You have to make the decision and move.
As we wrap up today's analysis, I really want to leave everyone with a slightly provocative thought to carry into your week.
Oh, I like this.
I want you to mentally pull up a major decision or a significant project in your own life right now.
I think every single person listening has at least one of those lingering heavily on their to-do list.
Oh, without a doubt.
It could be launching a new vertical at work or even making a major personal life transition.
We all have them.
Yeah.
Something you've been actively putting off under the incredibly comfortable guise of gathering just a little more information.
Right.
I want you to ask yourself a ruthlessly honest question. Are you truly preparing? Are you actually gathering vital, necessary intelligence?
Or are you falling victim to Yanwu?
Exactly.
Are you just terrified of the outcome so you are disguising your hesitation as prudence?
What would actually happen if, starting tomorrow morning, you stopped hiding behind the illusion of careful planning and applied a little divine speed to that stalled project?
Picture the fluorescent lights humming in your own conference room. The meeting has gone on long enough. You have the data. It might finally be time to make a move.
I think so.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Hope you loved today's 8-minute upgrade. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.